Hey, Chris, I'm here.
Hello there, Tom. How are you, good sir?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, my friend?
Man, long time no see. I tell you,
It
it's been probably about 10 years.
is.
And, I have followed your journey from what was it, Volvo or Volkswagen? Which one was it when I met you?
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen. I knew it
Volkswagen.
was, and I watched you transition and go through the whole change to the mushroom monks. Now, I've got to you've got to tell me what you've been up to. You've got to give me a recap and let me know what's been happening over the last 10 years or so, Tom.
Well, I retired in 95 from the auto sales business. I ended up having shingles on my leg, and it took me like 6 months to get over that. Then I had to basically teach myself how to walk again.
Oh no, that's horrible.
But my wife had been, yeah, but my wife had been dabbling in the mushrooms for about 5 years that time. She first learned about them in the 70s. She learned from a medical doctor who is also a mycologist about growing mushrooms. We grow them on brown organic rice in a mason jar.
Sure.
There's only one other person in the United States that's doing it this way. And my wife had fibromyalgia for about 20 years, and 7 years ago, she got tired of Western medicines not working, and she knew about growing the mushrooms. She talked to her rheumatologist about it, and he did a bunch of research for us and says, I don't see anything wrong. I don't see anything that's going to hurt your body. If you don't try it, you won't know. So she started off growing as lion's mane,
Right.
which worked on your brain, and then chaga, which works on your whole body.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
at that time, was taking uh, 3 antidepressants and lithium. She gobbled narcotics and muscle relaxers by the handful. She had no energy. She had terrible brain fog. Had 6 to 18 migraines a month, and she said enough was enough. Well, after she started taking the mushrooms, um, she got off all the antidepressants and lithium in about 6 months. In a year, she um, got off the narcotics and the pain relaxers, muscle relaxers. She
Sure.
went 2.5 years without a migraine. Her energy came back, and she lost 100 pounds over 3 years. I also started taking the mushrooms at that time, which helped uh, regenerate the nerves in my leg um, from what I had, and it also helped my arthritis. And then we ran into a guy that he and his wife are distributors for health food products. So they're the ones that really started us into growing them. So we've been growing them now for 3 years and selling them at various markets and holistic markets around town.
Excellent. Excellent.
We
Now,
also
look,
sell them through our website.
yeah, I took a look at your website and you've got an amazing selection, as a matter of fact. So now, do you have them year round in all full selection?
Um, 99% of the time we do. There's a couple that are the mushrooms can take from anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months to grow.
I see.
Uh, if we get a rush on some of them, like chaga, which takes about 6 months to grow, we may be out of it for a short period of time. But currently, we've got lion's mane, which is good for your brain. Chaga is good for your entire body. two types of cordyceps, and cordyceps come from the Himalayas. They help your lungs
Sure.
oxygenate your blood to give you a boost of energy. We have agarikon, which is for your stomach and your intestines. It's full of probiotics and prebiotics. I'm also testing it on myself. I have BPH, which older guys get on their prostrate,
Oh, okay.
and I've been seeing good results with that. And then we also have turkey tail, which is a natural fighter,
It's a natural what now?
cancer fighter.
Ah, cancer. Okay, it sounded like you were breaking
It's
up just
been,
a little bit there.
yeah, yeah. No, it's been approved in Japan as a form of fighting cancer for over 50 years.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, I got to looking at your website. Quite the selection, quite the selection. Now, you grow all of those in-house?
Yep.
Excellent, excellent. I
We,
was wondering about the cordyceps. I remember looking into cordyceps years ago and watching them take over ants and grasshoppers and things like that and growing out of them. It's an interesting looking fungi for sure.
yes.
Yeah, definitely,
Yes, it
definitely.
is. We have two types. The original one, the the mushroom fungus is in the ground, and there's a particular caterpillar that's only found in the Himalayas that eats it. The mushroom fungus kills the caterpillar and then sprouts a mushroom out of its head. Now, in
Wow.
the 30s, they took that variety into the labs in Europe and developed a second type, um, that they don't need the caterpillar for it to grow. But in both our varieties, we add some culinary grade black ants to mimic the insect protein, and we
Okay.
found it helps them grow much better.
Okay. Now, is that what is it? Senesis or militaris? I forget.
Sinise
Senesis.
is the original one.
Ah, okay.
Militaris is the one that was developed in the lab in the 30s.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been into the mycology. I don't know if you remember, but back when we met, I had two mycology companies myself selling. Well,
Yes, I remember that.
yeah. One company did home cultivation kits, which it looks like I did all of the stuff to take you to where you get to now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're right. So now, do you sell the actual mushrooms, or are you selling the substrate jars and bags?
We will sell a live jar so you can watch it grow. Uh, our partner calls it living art
Sure,
because they're
sure.
all different. Or we hydrate them and then powder them and capsule them. And then there's a few we just dehydrate.
Sure, sure. Okay, okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I know that some of them are so difficult to keep on hand and for long storage unless you dehydrate and capsule and I hadn't seen those products on the store. When I was looking on your shop, all I saw was the jars and I saw some photos of the bags and I was just wondering about that. So, can you tell us about the process of growing mushrooms? Can you share that?
Uh, yeah, well, I would tell you just a general view. We uh, pressure cook rice in a mason jar and then add the mycelium to it and seal the jar up like you were canning fruit and let
Sure.
it go. So each jar is its own little ecosystem.
Excellent, excellent. So everything grows inside that little jar. That's not just a fully colonized substrate jar. It's just got enough in
No,
there so that it can
everything.
fruit inside that chamber. Basically, it's a
Yes,
self-contained fruiting chamber.
yes.
Excellent, excellent. I think that's so cool. I looked at your packaging. I love the little labels on top. I wish I had thought of that years ago. When I was doing it, man, I thought it looked so goofy when I and I didn't hardly sell anything when it came to that product. Now I did when it was the actual kits, right? Kits and
Yeah,
supplies, everybody wanted to do it. But as far as colonized jars, bags, whatnot, I had no luck whatsoever, zero. And at that time, locally there wasn't a real market for the mushrooms unless you were doing very, very, very small scale. I think there
right.
was I think it was called something kitchen fungi, kitchen something. I don't remember what it is, but it was one of the largest ones. That's about within an hour from here. And I think they were the only ones really doing anything on any scale at the time. When I saw you pop your business up, man, I was happy for you.
Yeah. Now, know of a, uh, I can't remember if it's a guy or a lady out of Austin. They're growing some of the same ones we have. And then today, I just got a call from a guy that's growing mushrooms down in Elmendorf.
Sure.
He's growing some of the same ones we do, but we're the only ones that we know of that are growing all the varieties that we have.
Right. Yeah, even I didn't carry that. I did a little at a time here and there, but I had a lot more fun with isolations and doing, genetic manipulations with mine. So that was,
Right.
yeah, it was the science and the fun of it for me. I had a lot of fun with it. We went down to Counterculture Labs in Berkeley, California, one time with uh, Alan Rockefeller, and had a great time doing genetics or gene splicing and DNA sequencing for a weekend with him. That was great. That was great. I had the chance one time to go to, Central America. It starts off Central America and then they cross over and you're kind of in South America as they go through just a little myco trip. Everybody goes down for about 2 weeks, sits in hangs out in the bus, drives around collecting different species from everywhere, cataloging it and doing microscopy and everything else. I mean, it's a lot of fun stuff comes out of the old mushroom world.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Did
go
you
ahead.
go to the mushroom conference in Denver
Uh,
spring? Did
not
you go
in
to the mushroom conference in Denver in the spring?
No, not in Denver. However, well, and I haven't been to any mushroom conventions in several years, but at the time when I was doing all of that, it was regular that I was at Telluride and would speak at a couple of the seminars there.
Well, you
Yeah,
know who Paul Stamets is, then, don't you?
oh, definitely so,
Paul
definitely so.
Stamets and my wife used the same method because Paul was in San Antonio in the late 70s
Sure.
and learned this method of growing from the same medical doctor.
Ah, interesting, interesting. Now
So
that's
he and
how I started was with the brown
yeah,
rice flour and things like that. Now, really, most of the scale that I was, colonizing things on, I would end up going to other mediums, and really, I preferred other types of grains. Tell you the truth, but that was just for me, for me, and it worked on everything.
yeah,
All yeah. Now, you know what? I'm going to tell you a little secret that I found. Wild bird seed. Just clean it and you're good. It's the cheapest thing out there and it breaks down so quick, so quick. If you want to powder it and
huh,
flour it just like you do, and you can use anything. Hey, oats are beautiful. If you've ever used just
yeah,
oats, go to the feed store. Yeah, $11 for a 50-pound bag. I mean, you know, I've told this story a few times, Tom. It was kind of funny. That's how I got started doing all of this. My brother made a comment at a Christmas party one time. He says, "Oh yeah, Chris can sell a chocolate covered turd," and I just laughed and I said, "It man, I don't need the chocolate." And just laughed at him. Well, about a week or so later, I
yeah,
come up with the bright idea to go to. I went down to a garden center and bought a 50-pound bag of black cow or composted manure. Okay, because that's what it is. It is composted manure and busted it down into 51 pound increments and sterilized, not pressure, or excuse me, not
yeah,
sterilized, pasteurized, not sterilized, or sterilized, and then sold them for $7 a pound as manure-based mushroom substrate. End up making $350 a bag profit, and I was in business selling
yeah,
shit. Yeah, isn't that an amazing industry to be in when you really think about the connection that we have with fungi and the fact
yes,
that every single living thing and dying and decaying thing breaks down and becomes a part of this and then just gets filtered back through the world and back here we are again.
yeah. In fact, I was reading an article today that there's a couple of people that are experimenting with the mushroom stems as a natural preservative in food. Uh, and they've been experimenting on cream cheese and it's taken the shelf life from 6 weeks to 12 weeks.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, in your own personal, studies and trials, what varieties have you found the most beneficial to your own personal health?
Lion's mane. Uh, it helps with your cognitive features. It helps with depression, anxiety, stress, pain management, nerve management. If you're one of those people go to bed at night, your brain's racing 1,000 miles an hour, lion's mane calms that down. I found that it works for people that have migraines, ladies that have menstrual cramps. Um, Chaga works on the entire body. It helps reduce the inflammation load. Like his cordyceps give you energy, and then the Ericon works on your stomach and your intestines. And my wife, I take a variety of 4 or 5 of them every day.
Sure. So in powder form, or do you guys eat them in your diet? I mean, how do you consume your
We
fungi?
well, we have them in capsules, and then sometimes we just take a powder and we'll put it in our cereal or oatmeal or applesauce or cottage cheese, and then we also have fresh ones that we'll just pick and eat.
So you use them all the way around. In all their
Yeah.
forms, you're implementing them into your diet and into your daily life.
Oh yeah. I take we 4 different kinds in the morning and in the afternoon. If I'm tired, I'll take some cordyceps and get an energy boost and keep on going.
Ah, interesting. Now, I tell you what, I've got to know the science of growing mushrooms, right? It's a lot of fun, and there can be ups and downs and hazards and everything else. Do you have any interesting uh, grow or cultivation stories that you might like to share?
No, the one thing you have to watch out for is mold or an infection. But our bad rate on our jars is probably 3 out of every 100.
That's great. That's great. Nice,
Yeah.
clean, sterile environment. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, I didn't know if you'd ever had a grow go bad and had some crazy stuff happen, or I know that
Um.
I've grown in many different places, and I had a room one time that it was a room where I had dogs at one time, and I didn't think about it. I had cleaned the room. I mean, I had cleaned the room. I used an purifier in there. I worked under a HEPA filter, whole nine
Yeah.
yards. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I didn't think there was a problem. Well, let me tell you, there was bacteria in the wall from, I guess they had done the bathroom here, there, whatever, and it was, I guess,
Yeah.
growing inside. Yeah, well, those tiny little micro particles will end up when it's being pulled from a laminar flow hood, past it through it, the outside air is
Yeah.
being pulled up. Oh yeah, it'll pull that nastiness right in across your jars and your substrate. It
Yeah.
sure will. Working with an open petri dish, boom, it's contaminated, done or done. And what I ended up with was a whole bunch
Yep.
of
Yep.
I want to say it was lipstick mold, if I'm not mistaken, because it was a nasty orangey red color. But yeah, pretty gross. Speaking of that, have you ever seen people do artwork in a petri dish?
Yes.
Isn't that amazing how they can take bacterias, molds, and fungus and make it look like a painting?
Yes. I've seen that.
Interesting, interesting. Well, now tell me about the effects that your products have actually had on your wife. I mean, it sounds like she had some, pretty serious issues. And if you don't mind, go over those again and how each individual element may have contributed to her, her success or her.
Oh, well, like I said, she had fibromyalgia. She started off with lion's mane and chaga. Lion's mane, like we said, works on your brain, which improved her mood and her sleeping. Chalet. And then the chaga worked on reducing the inflammation in her whole body. So that's reduced her fibromyalgia symptoms by Oh, probably 95% over the last 7 years.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Now,
And
about
then
how now, so she's on a maintenance dose, but about how long did it really take to start taking effect in her body where she could really feel the difference?
um probably within about a week.
Wow. Okay. So pretty fast acting, relatively. I mean,
Yes.
wow.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting.
Um like the lion's mane, if you're taking it because your brain's racing 1,000 miles an hour when you go to bed at night, you'll know the first night. And what we tell everyone, they always ask, well, how do I know the mushrooms are working? We say take them for like a week or 10 days and then stop for a day or two and see how your body feels. And you will definitely know a difference.
There you go. There you go. That's a great, rule. Yeah, great rule of thumb to figure that out. See how well it's affected you there. I like that. I like that. Well, Tom, I tell you, do you happen to have any specific places where people can go and find your products in the area? I know you said you're in local markets and farmers markets. Do you have
Yes.
them? Okay, where can they find your products?
Yes. On the second Saturday of the month, we're at the Garden Ridge Market Days out on in Bracken. It's on Nacogdoches Road, about 3 miles north of 1604. The first Sunday of the month, we're at the Eagle's Nest uh, Holistic Market, which is at the Hilton Garden Inn on Pat Booker Road. The third Sunday of the month, we're at the Eagle's Nest Healing Festival at the Hilton Garden Inn at the Rim. And then depending on what month it is, toward the end of the month, we're at the Mystic Market down at Blue Star in the Brick in Southtown. And if
Excellent.
you check our website out, which is texasmushroommonks.com, we have a page on there that tells where we're at for that market, or you always go online and order them, and I'll either deliver in person or I'll stick them in the mail to you.
Excellent, excellent. So there's some live in-person events where they'll be able to see you throughout the month, and that's year round. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay. Do you happen
that's
to have
correct.
any retail deals where you have your products in stores yet? Or and is that a
Not yet.
plan?
We are working. That's a plan for this year. Yes.
Excellent,
We've
excellent.
been talking. We've been talking to several people. Um, in fact, our partners already got us kind of pre-placed in a couple places. We're just waiting on a few more things to happen to get going that route. But we hopefully be in some stores sometime later in 2024.
Excellent, excellent. Now I've got to ask you, since you mentioned that you sell at local markets and farmers markets and things like that, what is it like being a vendor at a market, at a farmer's market? I've been
Uh,
there as a customer many, many times, and I actually do have a little experience, but as a customer, I understand it. But what is it like being the mushroom guy at the farmer's market?
well, the one thing that we have found out is you kind of have to do the same markets all the time. You've got to find the markets that work for your product. And once you people go to the markets, most of them are pretty have a pretty regular set of customers that come through.
Sure.
And once they see that you're established, they're more willing to buy rather than, oh, he's here today, he won't be here next month.
I see. I see. So they're really buying it because they want to add a product to their life, not just stopping by for a novel gift.
That's right. And a lot of people come in and they have no idea about mushrooms or they've heard about them.
Sure.
And we tell them kind of like what I've been talking to you about, and they're, they're they'll try them. I've got them in all quantities. We start at 15 capsules. I've got 30 capsules, 60 capsules, 90 capsules, 120 capsules. Um, and they'll buy them and they see how great they are and they just keep coming back.
Huh. Okay. Now on your live mushrooms, how do you or on your fresh mushrooms, how do you sell them? What kind of pricing do you have on that?
Uh, a quart jar is $62.
Okay, $62. Excellent, excellent. And that's fruited and ready, or is that you
Yeah,
get
that yeah, that's fruited, ready to go. And what happens is the mushrooms, as you pick, say, the fresh mushrooms out of the jar and consume them, they will continue to repopulate until they run out of the nutrients from the rice. But
excellent?
what happens at that point? You take everything out of the jar, including the rice cake, because what's happening is as the mushrooms are growing, they're filling up that void in the rice from where they've taken the nutrients. They're filling it up with mushroom, so you have a myceliated rice.
Sure.
So we slice it like a thin piece of cheese and then dehydrate it, and you can consume that, or you can powder, we powder it or whatever.
Excellent. Now, do you enjoy the flavor of that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I always
Yes.
wondered about it. It smells good. You got that little sweet kind of smell to the grain.
Mm-hmm.
I always had
Yeah.
that, thought it had a nice flavor or a smell. I was just afraid to taste it.
um the lion's mane fresh has like a seafoody Parmesan cheese taste to it, and then the like the agaricon tastes like a salty grape nut, and then the rest of them just the taste is kind of neutral.
Sure. Sure. And those are the ones I preferred. Yeah, I sure did. Now, have you ever tried reishi or anything like that?
Yeah, we have reishi too. Uh, reishi and lions and chaga are good for your entire body.
Okay.
The mushroom community calls chaga the king of the medicinal mushrooms because it has more antioxidants in it than even blueberries.
Wow.
Reishi is considered the queen because it doesn't have quite the antioxidants that the chaga has. Now, the difference is reishi can build up in your body and cause a toxicity. So, if you take reishi, you need to take it like 3 weeks on, a week off, or every other day or every third day. That one you don't want to take every day. But
Interesting.
the rest of them you can take every day and don't have any effects, side effects.
Sure. Very interesting. And I wasn't aware of that at all. Wasn't aware of that. Very interesting. Well, I tell you what, it's been a very informative talk and call. Now, I tell you, for somebody who's just trying to get in and sample the product, where does your price point start?
15 capsules are $20. 30
Okay.
capsules, $30.
Okay. Okay. All right. So they can come in and experience what that's about for as low as $20.
Yeah, and
That's pretty amazing.
if they're curious and they want to um, spend any money, uh, I don't have samples in every variety, but I've got samples in most everything
Sure.
that will give them 4 or 6 capsules to go home and try.
Sure, sure, sure. Excellent, excellent, Tom. Well, I tell you now, one last thing before we close this deal out. But now, because you're a market vendor, I know you've got a market story that you'd like to share. Just some
Yeah,
funny incident that's happened to happen. I know there has been.
it's probably been a year ago now. We had a young girl. She was probably about 21. You could tell she didn't. She came up talking to my wife, and my wife told her about her battle, uh, fibromyalgia, and how she felt. And the girl busted out in tears. She goes, "That's exactly how I feel, and that's what I've been talking to my doctors about. And they're giving me all this medicine that doesn't even work." So
Sure.
uh, she started off with the capsules that Barbie recommended, and we saw her about 6 weeks later, and she came up and hugged Barbie and said, "Oh, I feel so much better. Uh, I just can't believe how the mushrooms have turned this around." And then uh, we saw her a couple ago. She'd lost about 30 pounds. Uh, Basically, she told Barbie, she said, "The mushrooms have given me my life back."
Isn't that rewarding when you get to see something very well? TexasMushroomMonks.com. And
Get better, nature.
Get some shrooms from Tom. Out there, internet land, you have a presentation. I hope you've enjoyed this.